Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, a couple of weeks ago, film critic, online film commentator and film buff Alicia Malone released a video about the new Ghostbusters film, which I disagreed with. Let me start by saying that I think Alicia Malone is a really awesome film critic. In fact, she's someone I personally really admire. I think she's one of the best film critics, film commentators that is out there today. I say that because she always brings her A game. She really knows her films. And she's always really interesting and enjoyable to listen to or to watch, actually discussing and dissecting films. Very balanced and very knowledgeable. However, her video commentary on the new Ghostbusters film, I found myself disagreeing with really strongly. And the reason I found myself disagreeing with her was because she said that despite the fact that this is not a good film, that people should still go and see this movie because you are supporting female empowerment by actually going to see this movie. I disagree really strongly because, you see, Ghostbusters, the new Ghostbusters, is a terrible movie. It is not well-made art at all. It is just a very poorly constructed film. And by saying to people that you should support poorly constructed films and call that female empowerment, what you're doing is you're setting the bar way down here for females in cinema. You are basically saying this is the level you should be aiming for. When in actual fact, there are lots of other good examples of filmmakers and actresses who are already way up here and who are far more worthy and deserving of that kind of support. The other thing that I question as well is whether or not there is actually this major demand. I know this is one of the things that Alicia Malone is quite passionate about, women in film, but I question whether there truly is this major demand out there amongst the majority of the female population for lots and lots more action movies where you've got female leads who are playing the part of dumb male action heroes. I'm just not convinced that there is a huge demand for this amongst the female population. And the reason I say that is because one thing you can guarantee about Hollywood is they know how to sniff out a dollar. And if they think that there's money to be made in a concept, they are going to milk that concept until it is dead because it's going to make them money. Now, if they had even a sniff, or they had even just an inkling of a thought that maybe they were going to make money, piles of cash, by producing movies with strong female action leads in them because that's what lots of women wanted to see and they were going to spend their money on, then I think they would be doing that. I really do believe they would be doing that. Instead, there are lots of films that are made with a female audience in mind, and they tend to target the demographics, or the genre, that I think most females are actually more inclined to find enjoyable. So dramas, romantic comedies. Now, that's not saying that all females enjoy those genres, or that all females, or that there are no females who want to see strong female leads in action movies. But there are those films already out there, and they are continuing to be made. Even recently, we had Mad Max Fury Road. It has a strong female lead in that role. There are other more recent films as well, or you could go right back to 1979 and you could talk about Ripley in the first Alien movie. Strong female sci-fi horror action role. Obviously that carries on throughout the franchise. You've got the Terminator franchise with Sarah Connor. There are other examples you can point to. This has been happening for a while now. But I'm just not convinced that the majority of the female population are saying, yeah, I want to buy tickets for those kind of films because I don't know if they find them enjoyable. For me, and this is me speaking as a man here, but I think one of the great examples of female empowerment, a female in a lead role who actually showcases, among others, there's lots of other examples too, but for me this is one of my favourites, of a strong, empowered female lead really leading the way in a film, and that is the movie Sophie Scholl, The Final Days. Now, Sophie Scholl, The Final Days is important for female empowerment in a couple of ways. Number one, you've got a really well-acted movie here. You've got a female lead who just acts this movie in such a profound, deep and beautiful kind of way. But it's also a very profound, deep, beautiful and very important story about a female, a real historical female figure who contributed something profoundly important to human history. So it's got both of those things going for it. And it showcases the feminine genius in a truly beautiful way. This young girl, Sophie Scholl, was 21, but this film is really all about the profundity of spiritual motherhood, patriotic motherhood, these profound gifts that are so unique to the feminine genius that are on display in this movie. There is not a leotard or a knife or a gun or an explosion in sight, is associated with this character. Instead, this is really about the depth of the feminine genius on display. And I think there are lots of other examples like that as well. So I'm not convinced that the majority of the female population really are hankering for more female action lead roles. I think instead this is more perhaps an attempt to try and say, if we sort of wriggle into this arena, then maybe we can start to educate men. And I'm not convinced that's going to work either, because one thing I know about men is we're pretty simple fellas, and we like our things the way they are. When you start messing with our stuff too much, we tend to turn off rather than engage more. Like I said though, Alicia Malone, awesome film critic. If you haven't already checked out her work, you really should do. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.